The U.S. Supreme Court is hearing several high-profile voting rights cases, including one that originated in Alabama. Liam Collins is here with that story.
David, two cases out of Alabama and North Carolina both concern the state's representation in Congress. The court will hear if the states have drawn districts unfairly and decide who has the power to fix them.
The U.S. Supreme Court could change redistricting processes across the country, in turn having a significant effect on the makeup of Congress.
The standards for drawing districts are unfortunately they're rather ambiguous.
Richard Fording is a political science professor at the University of Alabama. He's been following a case out of the state where lawmakers are accused of diluting black voters in the state.
They drew districts that were very similar to the districts that were already in place for the last decade.
But advocacy groups across the state say there aren't enough majority-minority congressional districts for the state's minority population. The state legislature drew one majority-minority district in western Alabama. Advocates say the state needs at least one more, but the state argues they drew the districts without race in mind.
And the courts say if it's political, that's not something we get involved in. But race is a different matter.
The court will rule on just how much of a factor race can play in the redistricting process. In North Carolina, state lawmakers plan to argue before the court that the state legislature has the ultimate power to draw congressional districts. In that case, the state Supreme Court ruled the state's 10-4 congressional district breakdown favoring Republicans violated the state constitution since North Carolina is more evenly divided politically. State lawmakers say the state court should have no role in the process at all.
That makes the state legislature supreme, as opposed to the Supreme Court.
Ted Shaw is a law professor at the University of North Carolina. He says the court's ruling could change who has the final say over a state's redistricting process.
It means that the legislature doesn't have anybody that can tell it what to do when it comes to curing this kind of violation.
The court started hearing those cases this week. They are expected to release a decision later this year or perhaps even early next year. In the meantime, next month's election will use the congressional districts both states have already drawn. David.